Rob Ryder's been telling us to go after these companies.
How can you possibly imagine? This is my opinion, okay? How can
I hear you. I understand. Mickey Mouse is a piece of paper.
Like having, okay, O.J. Simpson got arrested and tried for a murder. They did not arrest and try what was the rent-a-car company he was working for at the time, or the football team, or it wasn't an organization of men hiding behind a fictitious moniker. It was a guy. It was a man. All right? Okay? And if you're going to do a criminal charge on anybody, you've got to find the man or woman who actually committed the crime. Because a corporation cannot commit a crime. A judge cannot commit a crime. A lawyer cannot commit a crime. An office cannot commit a crime. Only the man or woman that breathes life into that office or into that corporation can commit a crime.
Well, this crime took place back in 1979 when they didn't...
Or who wears the costume. Who's ever behind that mask? Who's ever behind that mask? The person means mask. Who's ever behind that mask? That's who you could sue, behind the person.
Well, so I have to go after the CEO?
You can't go after the CEO.
The man behind the man that's filling the position of CEO.
Yes.
Yes, you could do that, but you couldn't sue him for what you want to sue him for. You could only sue him for being negligent or complicit because he didn't actually physically, intelligently, intentionally do the crime. He was responsible for the people under him who committed the crime.
Okay, let me give a simple one, too.
What are the odds that the person that committed this crime in 1979 are still around?
Ma'am, let me answer this, Greg. Stop. Remember, no, I got it. Remember Bernie Madoff, ma'am?
Pardon?
Bernie Madoff. Everybody remembers Bernard L. Madoff?
Right.
Okay. Now, he had a company called Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities, LLC.
Okay.
So when they arrested Bernie, did they also arrest the BLM Investment Securities?
Well, they
arrested Bernie Madoff.
It's a piece of paper.
But they arrested Bernie Madoff because he ripped off a whole bunch of little old ladies, right?
I guess. I don't know the story.
They said, well, okay, ma'am, let's just go with this. Let's just say, yes, he's sitting in federal prison now in Florida, wherever now, okay?
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of trust funds he had a lot of trust with a whole bunch of little old ladies, and his investment company threw it out of their money, okay?
Okay.
So there you go. So did they go down there and they arrest the building? Did they arrest all the office workers? What do you want to accomplish by this going after this insurance company? Do you know one man who knows beyond a shadow of a doubt, like Bernie knew? Bernie Madoff knew where all the bodies were buried. Bernie Madoff knew exactly what was going on. He wasn't just a silent partner or a silent owner who just happened to live in, Puerto Rico or Guam or Virgin Islands somewhere. No, this guy was an active participant in the crime. So they went right to the top. They went right after Bernie. They didn't go after the second guy, the third guy, the fourth guy. They went straight to the top. So do you know somebody at the top who personally has knowledge that he did you wrong and knew what he was doing was wrong? His company knew that they were attacking little old ladies like you.
They're doing it. They're doing it now.
Good.
What I am claiming is that a title insurance company, all they do is guarantee that their search was accurate. Okay? That's what they guarantee.
Okay.
So if the search was not accurate, meaning there were liens, previously existing liens that should have been paid off prior to my purchasing, or I wouldn't, if I had known that there was a bankruptcy lien on my land, I wouldn't have purchased it.
Okay, so what you're trying to say...
This ongoing today. They're doing this to everyone.
Okay, ma'am. See, this is what I should do. Anytime somebody calls, I should ask you guys flat out, what's the question? Because you're basically saying that you had a title company research some information for you, and they gave you some information that was not accurate, or not totally accurate. There was part of it that wasn't, 50%, 10%.
Right, it's fraudulent.
No, ma'am. They had to have a deliberate intent to defraud you. It's not fraud. They had to have a deliberate intent to defraud, not fraud. So if they had a deliberate intent
to defraud me, okay, they defrauded me.
Out of your property, which is your money, your time, your labor, your efforts,
and
whatever.
Then it caused me all this money in property taxes as a result.
All the information on that piece of paper is not in error. I'm sure they spelled your name right. I'm sure they spelled the name of the property right. But I'm sure there's something on that piece of paper that you believe is an error, right? That research that they did for you, something on that piece of paper is an error. Okay, so the whole piece of paper isn't wrong. There's just parts in that piece of paper that doesn't fit a certain timeline or doesn't establish the proper person that the property was assigned to one time in the past. So there's just something on that piece of paper that you found out by doing further research that these people didn't do their job properly. Is that basically what you're saying?
Right, and they're doing it to everyone, not just me.
Hey, ma'am, you can speak.
Are you saying that somebody who works there made a mistake?
I don't think so. No.
So, well, Greg, let me try to work with this lady right here. So, ma'am, like I said, first of all, because this is going out to a lot of people, Greg. So, when somebody says something, I got to stop them and correct them so other people don't do this. When you make a claim, you can only claim for what you witnessed in your eyes at that particular moment in time in history. You don't know that they did this to everyone else. What you do know that you could swear on a stack of Bibles is what you witnessed.
They did it to me, right? Right. I'm just saying that it's an ongoing thing, and it's got to be that if they did it to me, they did it to everybody else. But I'm going for myself. Yes.
You could presume, ma'am, because if you presume it, that's okay. That's just an error, a mistake. If you assume it, and you start spreading false rumors that everybody else they did this to everyone else, ma'am, you're setting yourself up to be liable to be sued for defamation or slander. So you
I hear you.
I'm trying to warn everybody, not just about this one particular case, not just it's all about you, it's all about me. It's everybody listening to this thing. You've got to be careful when you embellish a story because it sets you up for libel. You can't do that.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is you know that they did something on that piece of paper, and by you going back checking to check their research, you found that they did something by mistake or an error, but you presume was a deliberate act to defraud you out of your property and to trick you in some sort of artificial scheme. Is that what you believe?
Yeah.
Lovely. Now, what in particular do you notice on that piece of paperwork? Particularly on that piece of paperwork, did you notice that you believe there was caused you deliberate harm?
That there was a what?
What caused you deliberate harm? What statement or what sentence or what phrase or what was on that piece of document that you think that they deliberately gave to you to cause you harm, to give you, amuse you, to confuse you? What did you put on there?
What they didn't put on the paper. A title insurance company is supposed to give you a list of liens.
Okay.
Right? With a grantor has to say these are my liens, right?
Man, when I stop you,
pay them off.
Man, the reason why I'm stopping you is because I'm going to ask you a really good question, just specifically about you. How do you know that that's what a title company does? Is that what a title company is supposed to do? Give you information about liens?
A title company gives you, they do a title search.
Okay.
And they guarantee their insurance, all their insurance guarantees is that their search was correct.
Okay.
So that there's no liens on your land.
You actually have a piece of paperwork established with this title company that says, look, if we are in error, we guarantee if we are in error that we will compensate you for any loss or harm that it might incur to you based upon slack research. You have something in writing that says that they'll protect you from their slackers. I'm
not sure of the exact wording, but that's basically what a title insurance is. The state of New Jersey says that the title insurance company guarantees title search.
Let's just get away from contracts and insurance right now. Anytime you intercourse with anybody, okay, when you go into the public, you're intercoursing with others in public. So everybody knows when you intercourse in business with others, especially a stranger, you might pick up a communicable disease. You might pick up something that's going to harm you. So when you are going to engage with somebody, or like they call it in the Constitution, the intercourse in commerce, because that's exactly what it's written in the Constitution of the United States. Google intercourse in commerce, United States Constitution, you'll find it. So everybody understands when you go out of your front door and you start touching other human beings, or you start contacting other entities, fictional or real, you can be harmed. Everybody says stranger danger. Mommy told you when you were a little kid. So when you intercourse with somebody in business, you better know who you're dealing with. Did you background check and make sure this title company was up front? Did you read the contract? Did you have a little trepidation? Did you have to put your little fears? It's just like dating somebody, courting somebody. When you're on a courtship, when you're courting somebody, you're going to judge them by their acts, by their reputation, how they establish themselves in the past, how long they've been around. Just like when you want to have a husband or wife, you're gonna background check them a little bit before you jump in with both feet and say, I'm all in. I'm gambling with everything I got. I'm all in. So all I'm saying is you better go back and you better look at that contract that you have with, I don't care if it's an insurance company, I don't care if it's whoever you got. You better see in a contract that says if we make any errors, if any of our slackers that we pay $2 an hour to do this research for us makes a mistake, we are not liable. This is 100% on you. So you better go back and really read that contract really good and come back to us and tell us, it doesn't say anything there about mistakes or errors, or it does say something about mistakes and errors, because right now it's just all conjecture.
You're saying, wait a minute, you're saying that they have errors and omissions in the contract?
They could say if there's any errors. If we make an error, it's not our fault. We did the best we could with what the tools we had available at this time, and this is the best we could do. It's just like if you hire somebody to lay bricks in your house. You could get somebody like Paterson to lay a brick, or whoever's the world's greatest sculptor to come in your house and lay a brick. Or you get me. I can lay bricks for $2 an hour. Big deal. I don't lay bricks that good. Now, if you really want to hire somebody like Da Vinci or Michelangelo and he's going to sculpt your brick house, well, geez, it's all what you paid for, based upon my reputation. You're not just going to say to somebody, hey, man, put up some bricks for me. Okay, you're going to say how long you've been doing a business. Are you bonded? Are you insured? How do I know my house isn't going to fall down, or the first time it rains, or the motor's going to fall out of the joints? You're going to do a little research on these people. So like I said, so if you're a slacker, if you know you're a slack title company, maybe you actually wrote a contract to say, hey, you know what? To protect us from being sued, because we're really slackers, you know what? We're going to put all these kinds of warnings, caveats in our contracts and say, you know what? When you engage with us, you intercourse with us, it's at your own risk. I don't know if that's what your contract says. You really have to read the contract. Just because you believe what a title company should do, I could call myself a sculptor. Michelangelo could call himself a sculptor. Now, do you want to pay me $1 million to sculpt something for you, or do you want Michelangelo based on his reputation? Who are you going to give the $1 million to? This is all I'm trying to say. Really read that contract and make sure that the services they provided for you, somehow they didn't try to figure out a wiggle room to get themselves out of being liable for you. See what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, but I don't see how defrauding me is part of a contract.
Part of them,
they can't cover themselves with the...
Go ahead, Greg. You take up.
Defrauding me, no? Can they?
Go ahead, Greg. Maybe you understood what I said. Go ahead, Greg. Explain that.
Tricia, I don't see how you've been defrauded. Okay? Do you use the Microsoft Windows computer?
Do I use what?
Do you use a Microsoft Windows-based computer?
No, I don't.
Do you use a Macintosh?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if all of the stuff that you're working so hard, and all the data and all the files and everything you typed up and everything is on that computer, and it turns out that there's a bug in the software that on April 25th, the whole thing goes explode, and everything you have is lost. You know you can't sue them, right? You can't sue them.
I'm not going after a mistake. I'm going after fraud, defrauding me.
I really want to emphasize this.
Okay, go ahead.
You don't know. You do not know if you're going after a fraud. You're going after something that has caused you harm. You do know that for a fact. Something has caused you harm. And
all right, but then I'm not going to do a criminal complaint then.
It's raised the hair on the back of your neck, and you want to do something about it, but you're going forward without the complete set of information that you need to protect your claim. Okay? You're going forward not with presumptions, but with assumptions. You're going forward doing things that are going to come back and make you liable. The boomerang is going to hit, and it's going to come right back on you, and you're going to be nailed for making false claims. And you're going to go, what the devil happened? And you're not going to know. Because,
how do I avoid a false claim?
Because, first of all, you have to have all of the information. You have not done, according to what you sold, perhaps you have, but based on the conversation so far, it's my belief that you have not performed due diligence, that you have not really drilled down to find out who the wrongdoers truly are, okay? That, in fact, that there are any wrongdoers, okay? If there is a fact of an omission or an error, and you have not been able to tell us in this conversation whether or not your insurance policy absolutely covers errors and omissions on behalf of an inept staff, that hasn't come forward. You haven't shared that with us. In this conversation, we're operating also on a number of presumptions, okay? And so it's really impossible to give totally perfect information back to you without totally perfect information coming forward from you. So what I'm trying to say is, I believe, and it's only my belief, that you need to do more homework. You need to go and either communicate with the insurance company or the title company or the various different people to find out absolutely what your contractual rights are. Not your inalienable rights, your contractual rights. Okay? What is actually covered, what is actually not covered. Okay? And don't do it in a combative way, but do it in an investigative way.
Right,
once you find out the things.
Good. That's good, Greg. I'm going to break it down a little simpler for you because this is what everybody needs to know, not just North New Jersey, lady. Everybody.
Okay.
Let me break it down a little simpler, Greg, because you went past it, and I need you to reel you back. Maybe you could do it a little better. But all I'm trying to say, man, is when you intercourse with somebody, the product of your merger with those people is your baby, and you're liable for that baby. Now, once that baby's born, you can't start saying, well, I have inherent rights to not own that baby. No, you created it by that merger, whether it was a fictional entity or a live breathing entity. When you intercoursed and you incorporated and you created a product called a baby, you're liable for it. So if you're going to say, well, I'm going to use God-given right and I'm going to waive all liability to this fictional product that I created by intercoursing, I don't want to be held liable. It's like a guy saying, well, I don't want to be held liable for child support. What is the terms and the conditions of the contract and the parties in which agreed at one point in time? And then Greg took it from there, which was fine. But I had to stop you to try to show you how it's no different than biological human intercourse with each other as when we merge with the two-dimensional.
In this case, what's the baby?
I got two words. Buyer beware.
You got to be careful who you're intercoursing with. The baby is whatever an abomination that you guys have decided to create together. If you didn't really read the terms and the conditions, and you really weren't skilled in intercoursing and reading the definitions, let me put it this way: if they wrote the contract, you better believe it was meant to get over on you. If you didn't read that contract and say, I'm not going to do this, I need this done, I need this guaranteed, I need this warranted, I need this held liable if this is wrong. If you don't make modifications to that contract that other side proposed to you, it's all on you. You had the right to amend the contract. You had the right to adapt. You had the right to read it and interpret it. So to me, is if you just said, I'm just going to sign it. Like, did you write that contract, ma'am? No. Okay. Do you have any idea what those words mean? No. Why? Because you're not the creator of it. Like I tell people a million times, it's a freaking Picasso. You know what? Picasso just sees an elephant holding a banana standing on a blue bowl. Everybody else thinks it's universe and kumbaya and some sort of metaphysics, transcendentalization nonsense. It's not. It's an elephant holding a banana on a blue bowl. That's what Picasso sees. He's like, oh, my God, how does everybody see that? I see an elephant. So he's the creator. So if you don't create the contract, ma'am, and you just say, I'm signing off on this some ridiculous belief of what the creator says it is, Well, then what do you want us to do? You engage with them. What do you want us to do? You have to prove that that contract was deliberately created to cause you harm. Good luck with that, because I'm sure they had a team of attorneys write that contract up. So, like I said, can you always take them down to the common law? Sure. Can you always play this common law game like me? 1 sentence, 2 sentence done? Sure. But if you guys want to keep doing this notary process, affidavit stuff, quiet titles, you want to do all this paper two-dimensional world? Well, then you better be really skilled in the two-dimensional world, because I have no time or desire to master that two-dimensional world when I could get this thing done in a sentence or two. So
Wait a minute. You're telling me that I should take them to common law court and it's a different story?
Nope, because you contracted with them in good faith. Now, what you're going to try to do is you're going to try to play the common law trump card, and you're going to try to smash them because you think that they did you wrong. Can you go common law on these people? Oh, absolutely. But to me, that's not when you, like I said, if you make that baby, you pay for that baby. So, can you say, well, I can't really afford to pay all these child support payments? Sure, fine. What can you do, dude? We don't want to hurt you, buddy, but honestly, what can you do? $1 a day, $1 a year, how much you want to pay, But to me, if you engage with somebody and you engage with contracts with any level, 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional, 5th-dimensional, whatever creature that you're engaging with, you should live up to your terms and agreement of the contract. So you better be really careful that you read these contracts really well. Because to me, yes, you should be liable for the mess you create.
Let me jump in on this.
Go ahead.
Patricia, what this is like is, I'll try to draw a metaphor for you. Let's say you live in America, right?
I made a what?
And you live in America.
Right.
And you decide to go on summer vacation to Portugal. And while you're in Portugal, you meet this really fascinating couple with this little business, right? And they wow you and woo you, and they feed you, and they give you delicious wine, and they show you their entire family and their photographs from 16 generations, and you just absolutely believe in these people not because you did research, but because they're great at doing a sales pitch. All right? And so you go, I want to help you with your seashell business. Okay? I want to be an investor in your seashell business. And so you make this agreement with them over while you're on vacation in Portugal. Right? And then you come home and you sit down at your computer and you do some research and find out that this family is a bunch of gypsy con artists from the turn of the century. And you go, oh my God, I can't believe I did this. Right? And you go, oh no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. These are bad people. But you didn't have access to your own resources at the time you were being wowed and wooed and approving of the idea. So now you run back to America and these people try to sue you across the Atlantic. And you go, nah, 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 I'm an American, you can't touch me, and all of a sudden you find yourself in the United States District Court, and these guys are suing you. And you go, well, they're criminals. Oh, it doesn't matter. You got a contract, man. And it's like, well, but they've got this history of ripping everybody up. That's not your case, man. Your case is this case. Your case is you signed a contract with this man and woman that helped them with their seashell business, which, of course, we all know is bullshit. However, you agreed to it. All right? So at the time, you had the ability to say, this is really exciting and interesting. Let me go back to my home and let me organize and sort out my thoughts, and I'll come up with a proposal for you. No, you didn't do that. You just jumped, signed it, and you go, oh, I want to have sex with you right now. Boom. Okay, well, that's what you did. You married him. You had a baby. You made that contract. That contract is your baby. Now, you've done this all through your life. I've done this. We've all done this because we didn't all get trained to think like this when we were kids. I'm almost as old as Moses, but I'm just trying to tell you I'm embarrassed for myself for all of the stupid and foolish things that I agreed to do over the years. So what I'm trying to say to you is that you cannot play jurisdictional immunity with common law. You are liable for what you do in any jurisdiction in which you have put your foot.
Defraud means nothing. If I was defrauded, it means nothing.
If you know what, you can't prove, you haven't proven to me, you know what, I don't believe you were defrauded. You haven't proven it to me. I don't even feel sorry for you yet. Okay? I don't even feel sorry for you yet. Matter of fact, if this is all you got, I think that you're just a loser. Okay? Honest to God. But if you can give me more, I might believe you. I might get on your side. I might get on the bandwagon. I might drive to Washington, D.C. and fight for you. But right now, you're a loser. All right?
So Greg means loser in a nice way because Greg actually did this nonsense. Greg always plays I always play the role, you pay your damn mortgage, Greg, and shut up. And Greg's like, no, they defrauded me, and I shouldn't have to do this, and I can prove this. So see, man, Greg and I play both roles. Greg will play the lovable loser victim of mortgage fraud and scandal, and then I'll play the hardcore guy in common law that just says, you made the agreement, you live and die by your agreement. So he knows how to play both roles. He knows how to jump on you and say you're a loser, but in the same breath, he knows how to play the loser because he's gone through a mortgage thing and he's trying to figure it out himself. How can he get out of this mortgage nonsense mess? He's trying to do the same thing you're trying to do. So
let me go back to the point that I was trying to make, Carl, was this. When you step into a different jurisdiction, okay, and I'm using the word jurisdiction really loosely, okay, when you go into a different neighborhood, okay, if you grew up in the Bronx and you decide to go to Manhattan, if you're on the Lower East Side and you decide to go to freaking Harlem, okay, if you're on the Northwest Side of Chicago and you decide to go down to the West Side, you know, whatever, when you go to a different neighborhood, go to a different jurisdiction, you've got to be sharp to the rules of the neighborhood, okay, and if when you're in that neighborhood, you make a deal, and then you follow that deal to the nth letter, and you stay in total honor within the rules of that neighborhood, and the other side tries to cheat you while you are still following the rules, and you document the entire process, and you record the entire process, then if you can exit that jurisdiction or that neighborhood in honor, you can then go into common law and use that as evidence for your common law claim and try to achieve a victory. Only if you have clean hands and stayed in honor at all times within the terms and scope of the common law of that other neighborhood. Got it?
Let me put it another way too, because most people don't understand this simple thing. If you have a contract with you and me, and let me do Judge Judy because everybody respects Judge Judy. Some little old lady from New Jersey said to Judge Judy, "Well, I have this beautiful picture of a swimming pool from a Good Housekeeping magazine, and it was this beautiful blue color. So I got this guy who builds swimming pools for a living, and he says, you want that color tile for your pool?" And she said, "Yes. I want that color tile for my pool." So he said, "Okay." He went to Italy, spent $10,000 on the tiles, brought the tiles back, and installed it in a pool. When they filled it up with water, it wasn't the same color as was in the magazine. And the lady's like, "Hey, I'm not going to pay you for building the pool because I told you I wanted my pool to look like this." And the guy's like, "No, you told me to get the color of tile to look like that color blue, so I got that color blue." She says, "No, when the pool was done, I wanted it to look like this color when it was filled with water." He says, "That's not what you told me. You told me you wanted color blue like this. Like you showed me blue on a bowling ball, or blue on a bird, or blue on a car. You just told me you wanted blue tile. You just say when the pool is finished, when it's filled with water, I want it to look like this." So when she filled it, it was a little off not that same color. So Judge Judy, well, Judge Judy says, ma'am, do you have a contract with this guy to build your pool? Yes. It's like, how much was it? It's like, oh, like $100,000. Pay him every damn dime now. Fulfill the terms and the conditions of that contract. Then come back and sue the guy. But he gets every damn dime that you agreed in that contract to pay him, and you pay him now. You're in dishonor, man. And now somebody talked on Jack's show, one of the last Jack's show, and I went around with this man. This man is correct. It's called Rules of Statute Staples. It's an old set of laws, man, that goes back thousands of years. You pay every damn penny you owe that other person, then you sue them. You don't say, well, I'm not going to pay you because I don't think I like the service. I'm not going to pay you. No, you're going to go to that judge, and that judge, like Judge Judy, she's going to say you got to pay every damn dime for that service. Then you're going to come back, and then you're going to prove to me he defrauded you. Then you're going to prove to this court that he deliberately went out and he bought these tiles at this color, and he knew you wanted it to look that color when the pool was full of water. Prove it to the court then. Then we'll turn around and hand you back your money or the repair bills to make the pool look that color. But, lady, all the proof is on you. If you give him money to do something, a contract, you pay him every damn dime in full. Like I said to Greg the other day, Greg, I said, you're going to get a bond, you're going to pay that $200,000 mortgage off, you're going to turn around and you're going to sue the mortgage company. But you're going to pay every damn dime off. Then you have standing in court. Once that contract's approved, then you're going to prove they committed fraud. That's how you're going to do it.
It's really funny, Carl, because, in my profession, doing a lot of custom engineering for people, one of the things that we traditionally and customarily offer is, in terms of payment terms, somebody wants us to make something that never existed before, and so that's very tenuous to begin with because it has high likelihood of a customer dissatisfaction because everybody's operating on imagination, and you're trying to come up with a contract to describe something that never existed before. And so you don't even have a photograph to go off of. So at the very beginning that there's a high likelihood of customer dissatisfaction. So you write your agreements with the terms that say, okay, you're going to give us 50% up front because this is a huge investment on our part to develop this for you. All right? And then when we deliver it, you're going to give us 30%. Okay? And there's a 20% or a 10% left hanging in the wind. You could say, you can leave 10 or 20% out at the end for final customer approval. All right? That way the customer who wants something special knows that you have agreed to give them a trump card, right? So that if they're totally not satisfied, their bitching and moaning can accomplish you not getting that last paycheck, right? Now, as a vendor, what you do is you structure your order, you structure your entire price so that your first two payments cover everything and you don't lose any money and you make a small profit, all right? And if the customer is happy, you get a balloon at the end, all right? And if the customer's not happy, you go, okay, you know what? We're done. You're not happy. You don't have to pay the last 10%. You don't have to pay the last 20%. I forgive you. You forgive me. I'm walking away. Now he can't even sue me because the terms of the agreement were that last percentage was for customer satisfaction. Now, was he satisfied? No. Did he pay for customer satisfaction? No. That's what he would have had to pay. So now everybody walks away. He gets whatever the hell I built. I get the money that I freaking invested in it and a small profit that all my people paid, and everybody walks away and nobody has the right to sue anybody. Okay? Now, if you know how to write a corporate contract or you do business like I've had to do for 30 years, then you know how to do that. Now, nobody ever does that with their own personal life.
Hey, Greg.
Nobody ever goes to a mortgage company or a lawyer or anybody else and bust them on that stuff. They only do it when they go to work in the morning. They don't do it in their own personal stuff.
There you go. If anybody needs a contract written, have Greg do it. He's a hell of a contract writer. Okay?
Sounds like he's covering his own ass there.
But this is what I'm trying to say, ma'am. Greg went on a little bit there, but
I mean,
Well,
is that the way these contracts are really structured, so that the 20% or 10% at the end, they're not losing anything?
That's right.
Huh.
Right, because like I said, what's funny is like when people try to go down, they boo-hoo me a lot because I always bash the people. I always play the opposite side of the mortgage crowd, because the only people that are listening to this show, any show like this, on the mortgage crowd side, are the people who are on the underwater with their mortgage. The people who bought their house for $100,000 and sold it to the suckers who paid $500,000 or $1 million for a $100,000 house. They're not listening to this call. The people who are listening to this call are the people who got this $1 million house. It's basically worth $100,000, and now they're trying to find a loophole how to get out of it. So when I say, well, wait a second, you signed a mortgage and bank, mortgage, I say, what makes you feel that you should have the right to just walk away? Because you lost on this Ponzi scheme, because you knew it had to be a Ponzi scheme. You knew there's nothing in your right mind. When you added up all the board feet, all the windows, all the nails, all the material that it took to build that house, came out to about $50,000, $60,000. There's no way in the world you're going to possibly tell me that that house was worth $1 million. It's like they're buying a diamond. It's like they were buying gold. Like, look what's happening in gold. Gold's plummeting. You can't possibly tell me that $200 piece of gold a year ago is now worth $2,000. How do you figure that? And now everybody who's bought into gold at $2,000 an ounce because the world's going to come to an end, now they're taking a beating because it's going down to the $1,000 mark. And everybody's going to say, my gold broker defrauded me. He told me gold was only going in one direction. It's going up. Gold has been around since time. Ron Paul says buy gold. What, you're going to get Ron Paul for defrauding you? It's you know, so when they started, so like one guy said bilateral, unilateral contract, it's like, nobody told you intercourse. Nobody told you to have sex. Nobody told you to do what you did. You did what you did. You had to know the risks of the game. You want to play the game? You want to put your feet on a bed, on a floor in the morning and walk out that front door? It's all on you. It's all on you. So you just got to be smart and knowing who you're engaging with and who you're intercoursing with. I mean, you could just bet hop from guy to guy to guy, or you could be a one woman who stays with one guy for eternity. God bless you. Or you could be the bet hopper. The bet hopper obviously is going to have her point of view, the benefits of bet hopping, and obviously the woman who stays with one guy is going to have her benefits of why she believed the same thing that he did.